that. Let's get moving. You can always have opening humor, just so I know where I'm starting. Just wait until you're my age, and you'll forget what it is like to be at your age. That kind of portrays about what we're talking about aging as. Aging as a general rule, whether in medicine or in society, is thought of as two things. One, I'm getting old, that's a physical features, wrinkles, things like that. Or, more important, I can't remember things. So after the age of 40, well, I'm having a senior moment. That's part of the aging system. Now we're going to talk about successful aging. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? I mean, that's, that's a good question to find out. Just ask how old you are. Now, in my case, there are some times I feel I'm too old to be around. The other times, I feel just as good as my grandson. So it's kind of it's a state of mind. But a lot of us get locked into those things of either I'm too old, I'm useless, I may as well die, maybe my family can use my insurance, or some such nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense because that's a reality. But one should ask how old you think you are if you didn't know your age. So the goal for today, brain health and aging positively. How age is making history, how this impacts you and the world, how protecting your brain can enhance brain health. Okay. Let's look at some of successful aging. What is successful aging? Now when you actually use the word successful, that always implies not just a happy outcome, that it implies achievement rather than mere good luck. Right? So a lot of people talk about successful aging and they say, well, just genes, lucky. That's not true. If you're going to use the word successful, it means work. It just does not happen. Okay? That's the same thing as actors. You tell that, well, that actor, he just got lucky. And you start reading about them, him or her, and find out they've gone years of waiting tables, doing this before they became popular. They were ready to be popular, and they became popular. Okay, successful aging is dependent upon individual choices and behaviors. Just saying absence of disease is not enough. That was the old definition of the 20th century. What is a successful aging? Not having diseases. But you could say, what about people who, for example, are extreme athletes, who jog all the time, and studies have been done to show these people live very well, but they die early. Is that successful aging? It's a question. It's not one way. It's not a satirical statement. So what we are going to go is we are saying absence of disease is not enough in the 21st century. Successful aging basically has three key behaviors. One is you have a high mental and physical function. I think we'll all agree to that. And high mental physical function, then there should be low risk of disease and disease-related disabilities. So in other words, successful aging, people who are successful aging have low risk. If everybody gets a flu, they don't get a flu. Or if they get a flu, they recover fast, they don't have disability. That will be a part of successful aging. Active engagement in life is something which is getting a lot of time in the past 10, 15 years. Now, those of you who have been involved in yoga and many other different lifestyle modifiers or disciplines, that's a well-known fact. But now I'm trying to put all these things in today's 21st century paradigm of thinking, which is really science, but not science as we knew in the 20th century, which was pretty much, I think it's a kind of tight-ass type system. Where this is how you do it, there was no movement, there were ceilings everywhere, it was all in a box. 21st century science is molecular biology, genomics, microbiome, looking at the gut flora, looking at energy fields. That's the 21st century science. So when you look at that, active engagement in life becomes a real issue. For example, human beings, all of us, are generating a magnetic field 5 feet from our body, and that's been measured. Actually, Japanese have done a lot of work. So if you're having a magnetic field 5 feet from you, then everybody in this room are putting that magnetic field. And a magnetic field depends upon a temperament, a whole lot of things. They're all interacting. And what does that interaction mean? Nobody really knows. Now, we all know people, you go sit with them, and half an hour later, it feels like you sat with a vampire. They just drained you dry. Right? You all know that. And that's what other people who are bouncy, and they just make you feel good, even though after the meeting you find, what did they do? Didn't do anything, can't recall anything, but you were happier, or you just felt more bouncy. So energy fields is a big issue. Then this one is belief in something greater. Used to be something more religious or cultish. But today, in modern neuroscience, that is a big thing. People, when they study people who live long, over 100 years, almost all of them believe in something greater than themselves. It doesn't matter what it is, they believe in it. So those are the successful behavior or skill sets of people who age successfully. Let's keep going. So we talked about avoiding disease and disability. That's modern medicine and applied science of repair rather than prevention. Is that really modern medicine? No, that's the 20th century and 19th century medicine. 21st century, even in mainstream, even American Medical Association would disagree with that. Okay, there's a big change going on. Even the word patient implies passive rather than responsibility for our own health. So what does patience mean? If you look up the dictionary, that means to endure, to suffer. And that's kind of how even our words define patient-physician relationship. Fear about functional loss or in old age are exaggerated. I'm going to show it to you. It's always assumed if you're getting older that you're going to have functional loss. We prepare for it. More functional loss can be, but much functional loss can be prevented. Many functional loss can be regained. That's MacArthur research. A major study was done just to show how physicians think about our patients, nurses think, how families think about their older generation, the senior citizens, is totally flawed. We kind of force them into the rocking chair to keep rocking and then select the plot. And we're getting them ready on the road and we're pushing them on. Okay? Successful aging, you can't have that. Continuing engagement with life. Living life, basically we live life by living it, not being in a rocking chair. MacArthur research, we start. The 60s disengagement theory, the final act of relinquishing was letting go of life itself. Remember that was it. You know, you're getting old. It's time to just slow down. Let other people do the work. Don't do anything else. Basically, you're saying, you know what? Get ready to pass on. Okay. Being part of an extended dynamic community is very much part of aging, successful aging. Very rarely do you find loners who age successfully. There are exceptions, but as general rule. Being part of a social network of friends and family is one of the most effective predicators of longevity. Men and women, perhaps especially men, who do not have close friends or family are more likely to become ill and less likely to live long lives. Right. Women, even though they think they are kind of isolating themselves, they always reach out. Men, however, don't. And why? One of the reasons is when a baby is young in the mother's womb, in the early part, male and female, they are unisex. In fact, they're female. Life starts as female. But then at a certain point, the Y gene puts out a lot of testosterone. What does the testosterone do? Testosterone is a brain poison. It kills a whole slew, over half the brain cells which are involved in communication, and revs up all the brain cells which are involved in aggression and sexual drive. So what happens? Men are born already, if you will, verbally challenged. That's why a little boy, when he wants to get the attention of a girl, pulls her hair or punches her, because the verbal vocabulary in the male brain doesn't exist, or doesn't exist as much as a female brain does. So that could be one of the things as you grow up. If you don't learn to compensate for it, you isolate yourself. So as we get older, what happens when we have things happen to us, our brain is not functioning well, men tend to isolate. The man cave is a nice example. When you're in middle age, it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, it's a man cave. As you get older, it isn't.